Hello and welcome to Your Free Voice. I am interviewing today in this episode my former student and now good friend, Chris Portka. We're going to be talking about his newest album, the album that everyone wants. It's a super fascinating conversation. And if you hadn't listened to my previous interview with Chris from a couple of years ago, I think it was episode 36, I now know. Um, that's when he tells the story about how when he first found me, he couldn't sing in front of me, let alone anybody else. He was depressed and not expressing himself creatively at all, and yet it was his dream. And now we are multiple albums down. I'm just saying. And so have a listen to this episode. It talks a little bit about how he came about writing some of the songs, choosing the people that he works with. I think the album's great, and Chris is always really fun and generous to talk to. So enjoy. Hello, and welcome to Your Free Voice with me, your host, Julia Norton. This podcast is for people who use their voice professionally or for fun, and they want to understand how it works a bit better, or to get over old stories that might be holding them back. Whatever level you're playing at right now, my goal is to bring you lots of actionable stuff, from the technical to the creative to the deeply woo, to help you free your voice. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Your Free Voice. And this week I am talking to Chris Portka about his new album, the album everyone wants. Here it is, people. If you're watching me on the YouTube, you can see the cover there, which is very awesome and quite moody and stylish. He's wearing shades and toking on a little something, which tells you it's a rock album, but it isn't really, but it kind of is. Let's talk about it, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in and
Yeah,
for
I'm loving
being
here.
in person in my little office here. We're kind of squidged into behind the desk. Um, this album, I have to say, I saw you this summer while you were still in the process of kind of editing or whatever, finishing the thing.
Mixing, my editing,
Mixing,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth.
So,
Yeah.
so it feels like it wasn't that long ago that I was talking to you about your album, Trash Music.
Oh yeah. That was also very fun, but that was a very solo effort.
Yeah,
So I guess this is the first record that you could say that I made that is yeah, very collaborative.
right.
That's a big difference in terms of everything I've done before, because everything it was me in my own little personal studio, much like kind of we are now, and like just tracking one thing at a time, singing it until I feel like, oh, that's good enough. And like this is the first time I actually like sat in a studio in a nice studio, paid musicians. They were also my friends too, but you know, like they did a lot of work on this album too, so and they deserve a lot of praise as well for the work on the album.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
What was because it feels like, for those of you that haven't listened to the first interview I did with Chris, I should have figured out which episode that was, but go back about 15 episodes, something like that, and maybe 20, and you'll find the episode with Chris before. And he talks a lot about his evolution from going from being completely terrified of singing in front of anybody at all to making albums, right? Which is this
yeah.
huge journey to doing that. And then this feels like almost like in terms of your growth as you're claiming yourself as and you're not going to like this because it's going to feel like, I'm puffing you up, but like you're accepting yourself as an actual kind of bona fide
Mm.
actual, like, what has shifted there for you, do you think? Because paying other people, treating yourself like a professional, all that kind of stuff of bringing other people in. Did it feel like that was a big shift, like emotionally? Or did it kind of just happen because you wanted to collaborate with people and you were sick of doing it on your own? Or none of those things?
A lot of things. There's a lot of those things.
Yeah.
I would probably say the number one reason is, yeah, I was just sick and tired of doing 99% of it
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
And the prospect of doing it again just felt like such a huge weight.
Mm.
I didn't know how to kind of, not that I didn't want to keep making music and writing songs and all this stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, I did not know how to move forward if I was just going to sit in my little studio again and
Yeah.
kind of do it all over again. And there are friends um, that are kind of in the music industry,
Mm.
or what's left of it, or whatever you want to say about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But and they're ultra talented, and I miss them, and they've like moved away, and
Yeah.
so kind of a big impetus for the album is just me like texting some of my friends, just being like, "I miss you. Can we please like?" For the love of God, play music sometime when I'm in New York or whatever, because like
Yeah.
that's actually so one of the impetus is like one of my friends, Jasper, who kind of co-produced the album.
Yeah.
He works at some studios in New
Yeah.
York. He moved out to New York like 10-ish years ago or something like that. And
Share a house.
did I live? Oh, yes, we lived in the co-ops together. Yes, we
Okay.
did. That's where I
Sorry, sorry,
first met
sorry.
him. So yes,
A bit of my brain.
Jasper.
It was just like, yeah.
Yeah, actually, most of the people who are on the album are people like the drummer Mike Vitone, not a co-opper, but also somebody I've met through that kind of
Yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
that co-op college kind of cool music scene
Yeah.
that kind of happens
Interrupted
at
you.
Berkeley.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Um,
he'd moved to New York.
but so he'd moved to New
Yeah.
York, tired of doing things on my own, tired of just being in my own studio. So I knew Jasper was doing this thing. And I basically, after a series of texts, was just like, can we please, for the love of God, just like, can we go in the studio and just record some stuff? I have some stuff that's done.
Yeah.
You can produce or do whatever you want to do to like throw it, but I can play the songs on guitar and sing.
Yeah.
And as it started getting closer, I was like, well, it'd be great if we could have a drummer. And he's like, let me see if Mike's free and I can get him. And he was. And like, so it was kind of ended up being the trio of us, which is kind of the big bones of the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Was just 2 days at Sears Sound in New York and Manhattan. Really cool studio, a lot of cool records,
Mhm.
Sonic Youth, Wilco, a lot of cool records that have been out of Sears Sound. And the place itself sounds great, and the
Yeah.
people are lovely. Um, and yeah, kind of just winged it because, I only had so much time in New York. We had no time to practice, no time to do any of this.
Yeah.
Like I sent them demos
Yeah.
of all the songs, obviously,
Yeah.
and I'd already had the idea in my head that so to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, Part of my music practice is trying to play every day, and
Yeah.
I'm not always successful at that, but more often than not I am. And I play my own stuff, but but most of the time I actually am playing covers, and some of the covers I really love. And at this point, it's hundreds of covers
Yeah.
that I've done,
Yeah.
and I love those artists and all that stuff. And sometimes I do it dramatically different, or I just naturally kind of
Yeah.
like I didn't even really plan it. I just practiced it for a bunch, and I'm like, I just want to do it this way. It sounds better. And like, um, so I gave them kind of like I gave them probably way too much. I probably gave them 100 covers we could do,
Yeah.
and a dozen originals, and just said like, let's see what we get through in the studio.
Yeah.
And it was basically, yeah, all hands on deck from the moment I walked in the studio for 12 hours, 2 days in a row. Jasper would get there early to set everything up.
Yeah.
I would walk in, and then we'd basically just be like, here's the song. Let's talk about it for 5 minutes or whatever to kind of get on the same page about how it's going to go. And then hit record and just see what happens. And
Oh
like
my God.
do a couple takes for the song. And I mean, it speaks highly of them that they're just able to kind of bust that kind of stuff out. Like
Yeah.
that Jasper and Mike are just good enough to be able to hear something a couple times and be like, I get it, and knock it out of the park. And that's
Amazing.
and so really grateful to them. I mean, to everybody on the album, but
Yeah.
yeah, and so that was fun. I mean, I've always, kind of to get back to why not solo. I had never really planned to do records solo. I'd always kind of wanted to do it for. It's kind of out of a need that people move away, people don't have the time, people
Yeah.
don't have the patience.
Yeah.
People or 10, 20 years ago I probably wasn't good enough, or I definitely wasn't good enough to be able to just bust something out like that in
Yeah.
the studio.
Yeah.
And probably, or who know, I don't know if they were either, but like they're definitely really good.
Yeah.
And like so just kind of getting to a point where that was a possibility
Yeah.
didn't happen until
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. So it really sounds like you came to this place more of like, I just want to connect with my people. There's an opportunity here where we could actually do things together.
Yeah.
And at the time, probably you had the funds to just put into it, right? And
Yep.
so it was more from the enthusiasm of kind of getting in the sandbox with your friends
Yeah.
than, I feel like I deserve this as an artist to have,
Yeah.
but that,
Oh, that's yeah. So actually, one of the things I remember Mike asking during one of our breaks when we were in the studio is like he's talking about like, oh, I get so nervous and stuff, and I'm like, it doesn't really show up when you're playing though. It sounds great.
yeah.
And he's like, well, what about you? Aren't you like really nervous or something? And I'm just like, at this point, I can just kind of directly tap into like the music is fun thing so easily that it doesn't matter if there's a lot of pressure. I can just all of a sudden be like, oh, this is one of my favorite things in the world. And it's taken over 40 years to get there, but
Yes.
like that is possible. And I'm here to tell people that that's also possible too.
Yeah.
Like if you just love music, but then you start playing it and you're like, I'm anxious, or oh my God, there's a crowd. I'm not having fun anymore. There is a way to get there, to just get
Yes.
back to like that anxiety can fall away. I mean, never truly goes away. Like you're always going to be concerned, that you sound good or whatever it is. But like there is a way to kind of directly tap into like, this is just fun and I fucking love doing this.
Yeah.
And that's what was there in the studio. And that's the kind of the impetus for the whole thing. So
Yes.
yeah.
And you can really hear it because I love trash music too, but it not the record that I wanted to just play over and over and over again.
That's
It had some
it's a tortured soul record.
edges. It had some edges. Which I love too, because I love that on the edges and the uncomfortable and the dissonance, right? But
Yeah.
this album, and I'm telling you, people at home, this album is one of those records that uh if it's rainy and you're just looking out the window, drinking a cup of tea, and you can just kind of fall into the stories
Mm.
that are in the songs that Chris has chosen, and some of his originals are so great too. I really love, and there's just something. It's really accessible, but also it's not like your mom's easy listening. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is deeply, I find it like deeply comforting and familiar and yet new. Right?
One of the intentions behind it very much was to make a album that was more welcoming.
Well, you did.
One of the yeah, so very specifically, it was I had the very specific intention of like I wanted to make a record that if people had a barbecue or at a party or something, they could just throw it on. It would provide a good vibe. People could tune in into it, be like, I like this. Instead of the previous album was like, there's some really discordant shit in there. And people be like, what the fuck did you put on? Like nobody, I didn't want that to be this album. So yes, I tried to
Yeah.
make something very palatable and easy to go down, even though there's some weirdness and there is definitely some dissonance on the record, but it's more used in a different manner, not to draw with, not to, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Which one shall I play first?
I'd probably go with "Fun in the Summer." It's like the lead single. It's the
Summer.
most poppy, for lack
Okay.
of a better word.
And this is just, dudes, this is a tiny little bit of it just because of podcast land, but it's just a tiny little bit just to give you a little taste. So, Fun in the Summer, here we go.
Just for fun in the summer. Kill my mind and erase what you think you want me to be.
Okay, so Fun in the Summer, we just had a listen to that clip.
Yeah,
Is that one of your songs?
that is one of my songs. Yes.
Yeah.
That song was started. It's the only song in the album. It's probably the only song I've written that specifically was like, I need to try to write a pop song, or for lack of a better word,
Yeah, yeah.
what I think of as a pop song, or like something that would be popular that I think could be played on the radio or something like that. And the sentiment doing something just for fun in the summer. Well, wow, what's more popular than that? That sounds just like a trope at this point, doing summertime pop songs. So yeah, I think at the time I was listening to a lot of Pavement.
Oh, okay.
uh, what to say about it?
Your voice in
Yeah,
it, because this is your free voice podcast, right?
yeah.
Let's talk about like how you approach the vocals on that song.
Oh man, as natural as possible. Like I would say it's a very I love Lou Reed, and kind of like he has a very natural
Yes.
speak. It's not really a speak singing that I do. It is singing, but it is a very natural in my range. I'm not straining. I'm not I'm really just kind of feeling it instead of trying to like really push it out because
Yeah.
it needs to be out there or something.
It's a laid back summer
It's laid back.
vibes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I have to ask a question about this as well, because those of us, I've just taken all my music off Spotify and everywhere, and the ever crouching presence of AI is kind of
Worrying, to
decimating
say the least.
the music industry.
Yeah.
It's the final nail in the coffin. I think we can fully agree on that. And what I love about the album as well is that the first time I heard it, any tracks from it were in the vinyl on my record player at home, right? That was it. I didn't listen to tracks in advance on MP3s or anything like that, which is so often the way. And there's something about your voice as well. And I remember having a little bit of a back and forth when I recorded my Lullaby album nearly 20 years ago at Fantasy. The producer there wanted to just put auto tune on my voice just because, right?
Yeah.
Just because. And I had to kind of fight him to not do that. Now I don't think I'm hearing any of that on your voice.
No, but I've had this same experience, not here at Sear, but in preparation for this album, there was other studios I tried, other people I'm working with locally, and some of them are very much just like what you're saying. Like they don't even think about it; they just throw the auto tune on. And so
it's so refreshing, is what I was going to say, is listening to your voice, as I've heard your voice in my living room, as I've heard your voice when you're doing your Instagram lives and you're dressing down through COVID, or like that is your real natural voice, and it sounds good. And you know what? I think that the more we are suffocated by AI and everything else, the more we are going to crave real like that. Right, to really feel a real human.
There is very little trickery on the album.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's also a foil to the previous album, because that previous album, a lot of it was trickery. Yeah, a lot of it was like doing fucked up filters on my voice and like all the stuff. And like, this is very much just like I play acoustic guitar on every track, and there's and you can hear it.
Yeah.
It's mixed so that you can hear the acoustic guitar and you can hear my voice, and there's like slight reverb on stuff. But other than that, it's very natural sounding, and that's the way we wanted it. And it sounds good.
Well, let's listen to another one. Should we listen to Song for Carol?
Sure.
All days are lost, all days are free. We live a perpetual dream. Calm winds can become a storm, and in the morning I can be reborn.
Ah, so good. I really love that song a lot. What does Carol think of it?
She loves it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Funny thing, the way that song was actually written, so Carol's my wife. We met God, now that this is on a podcast about
we can cut it. We can freaking fix this. Okay. How long have you been married, Chris? Okay.
We've been married 4 years. We met like 6-ish years ago. We met. I don't need to retell the whole story, but the point is, she was living in New York at the time. I had visited her for like a week
Yeah.
because we were bi-coastal.
Yeah.
And on the plane ride back home, I was feeling all this stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, she's so great! I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I love her." All this stuff. And so I wrote a song just literally on the plane. I just wrote it there, and the song, it's like 90% exactly what I wrote
Now,
on the
did
plane back way.
you wrote the lyrics? How did you track the melody? Did you record it into your
The,
phone or something, or
the funny thing is, if I don't know if everybody experiences this, but
probably not?
depending on the song that I write, the natural, I can already kind of hear the melody from the words.
Yeah, but how do you
Which is
then
weird.
track it? How do you keep hold of that? Because I'll do that, and then if I don't, oh, you
I
don't
don't
forget.
forget. There are moments. It depends. It depends. Like it's kind of taken a long time to know when it's locked in and when it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially if there's a very specific cadence that I'm hearing, kind of like at that
Yeah.
point, it's just like a poem.
Yeah.
That translates itself into
melody.
whatever natural melody I already want
Yeah.
in my head.
Yeah.
So I kind of don't even have to really. I don't think I have. I'm pretty. I could go back and double check, but I don't think I even have a voice memo
Yeah.
or something on the plane of
Amazing.
me like humming it. I
Amazing.
just
Amazing.
it was there.
And what would you say to, because I know quite a few people listening are either beginning songwriters or, writing songs is something that they're wanting to do more of.
Mhm.
And you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice or tips like for, for listeners, like how to do that? Like,
Don't stop.
just stop.
Practice more. Practice every day. None of this stuff is easy.
Yeah.
And none of it is natural, despite what some people say and what you want to believe, what some artists say, like, oh, that person's just a genius, it just naturally flows out of them. Fucking bullshit. Like it does kind of at this point for me in these little ways, but that's after 30 years of work kind of thing. Or like, and then 10 years of like intense work trying to get it, like trying to get my writing and like trying to get my voice in pitch and understand how to like keep my voice in tune with the guitar and like playing an instrument and like.
Can I jump in there and say a little bit about I remember like what, because I want this to be encouragement to you too, is that when Chris was first coming to me, once he got over the actual playing anything in front of me at all, and this is what I remember of you, he was deeply focused on the pitch, trying to get his voice to be, where he wanted it to be. And also you played and you practiced for hours a day.
Yeah.
Hours.
I had a very strict schedule for
anybody aside from like symphonic musicians and people who, with the kind of dedication that you had at that it was like you weren't. So this is one thing I'm going to say to dear listener is if you really, really want something, you kind of have to show up. You got to meet the universe halfway, right? You have to. You can't just say, I want to be a rock star in your journal every morning, right? Without learning how to do the runs on your guitar, learning how to match you. Like that's you meeting the universe. And then you get to create a beautiful album that people actually want to listen to while they're looking out the window.
That's exactly. So and that's not to say that that's the only way to do it, that you have to do. I want to encourage people also to just think of it as like, if you only have 10 minutes a day, then do those 10 minutes a day.
Yes.
Or every other day or whatever it is. Like the consistency and the persistence is the key. Like it kind of doesn't matter. Like, okay, like I don't have 8 hours to practice my guitar a day. That's fine.
Yeah.
You do 10 minutes every other day, every day.
Yeah.
And in a year, you will notice you are dramatically different in so many ways.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that will constantly build on itself. Like you don't forget things. You kind of, maybe it takes you a minute to kind of get back to remember the thing, but you don't forget it once you kind of learn it.
I think that's so true, and it's great. Thank you for saying that too, because not everybody has as many hours a day.
Yeah.
And I think
And
you
I was
should
very privileged at the time to do it.
You need
So
a
yeah,
t-shirt that says consistently persistent.
exactly.
And that
Yeah.
also should be in a new kind of, Sound of Music, the consistently persistent song. Maybe in your next
Yeah.
album, consistently
Consistent
persistent.
could be a new song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could be
that's
any
not a
song.
bad idea.
Awesome. And I do really hear the Lou Reed influence on that one, particularly, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous, and again, it's like a really comfortable part of your voice, it feels like. Song for Carol.
Yeah, and that's also to say like whoever somebody's musical, you don't have to like Lou Reed, but you like a musician, learn how they did the thing, learn how to sing their song, learn how to do something that is basically exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you got to learn the nuts and bolts of all of it.
Yes.
Like not only like, or if you're the singer and the songwriter and stuff, but like there's a guitar part I really like. Why do I like that? How did they do that? Like there's a bass thing I like. Well, how did they do that? Why does it sound like that? There's so many questions and so much peeling back of layers of how music is made that is very daunting, but it is doable. And it is something that if you just kind of slowly chip away at it, you'll understand like why you like a certain thing. Because sometimes I just listen to a song and I'm like, I have no fucking idea why I like this. It just sounds great. Like, it sounds great. I'm going to make something that sounds great. And that's my intention. A little bit harder than that when it actually comes down to it.
And I think that's really true. I know that when I was in my teens and I really was besotted with Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh.
And I started trying to learn all Ella Fitzgerald's licks in her standards, like how she presented standards now.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't get very far, but there's a few of them, there's a few songs that I really put in the time to keep stopping the track. Like, what is she doing? Like figuring, and this is me being a terrible piano player, not really having an instrument to work stuff out on, but really having to do it with my ear. What is she doing there? How is that moving around? And like you say, it can feel super daunting sometimes when you take the whole thing. But if you can break something down into tiny little bites and master like one bar of it, one little lick, one phrase at a time, and then put them together. And another thing is sometimes I'll work from the end of a solo backwards so that when you go to perform it, you don't have that thing of, oh, I'm getting to that hard bit, which is always the bit that gets practiced less, right? The bit at the end. So if you actually go from the end backwards, then once you're through the beginning, that's the bit that you knew the least. And so everything's gravy from that point on. So, that can be a helpful trick too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also shout out just like following your own joy. Like I love Lou Reed. You just said you love Ella.
Yeah.
Don't do something because like somebody says, oh, you'll learn a lot if you learn this song or that song. You need to pick what you love and then learn that. It doesn't really matter what you're picking as long as you like it and you'll do the work. And as long as you'll keep practicing it.
Yes.
Because you like it.
Well, this is why I always say to my private clients, right, is I'm not going to pick songs for you.
Yeah.
I want you to bring the songs that move you, even if you don't know why it is you want to sing that song. Right?
Exactly.
Or what it is, or even if you can't sing the whole song, but there's just that chorus in there or that bit in there, like sing that, because that is the thing that it's kind of just working on you in an unconscious level already. So like take the emotional oomph from that to carry you through the hard technical stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because really also every time I've shoulded myself into trying to learn something, it doesn't really work out. Like, oh, I should learn. Yeah. I was gonna say I should learn this Steely Dan song because it's so hard and like that'll teach me so much. That doesn't really work. But that's also to say like there are some Steely Dan songs I have loved and I have delved into and learned how to play. Yeah. But you don't put the cart before the horse thing. You do music because you love it. You want to use your voice because you want to be heard and you really love the way it feels and the way you want to embody all this stuff. It's not about shoulding this or I need to learn that or whatever it is. It's like it starts from square one is like I love this thing and proceed from there.
Yes. Gorgeous. All right, let's listen to another snippet. This last one's called The Observer. Is that this one at the end then?
Yes.
Okay. This last one's called The Observer, and this is also one of yours. And now I'll say that, you know, there are quite a few covers on the album, as Chris has already said, by artists as varied as Sid Barrett and who else?
There's Sid Barrett. There's an old like a George Jones, or he made a standard out of Tennessee whiskey is on there. I'm trying to think. There's Skip Spence. There's a lot of like indie luminaries. Mayo Thompson, if people know Mayo Thompson.
Yeah.
Who else? Fred Eaglesmith
Fred
is actually a
Eaglesmith.
Canadian, but he's a great folk guy. Alan Wilson is the leader of Canned Heat.
Oh, okay.
So that's his. And there's even a cover of the producer Jasper. I cover one of his songs to end the album.
I wondered if that was okay. That's you guys.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to have a listen to The Observer. Is it just called The Observer? Yeah,
That's
The
right.
Observer.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that song all about, Chris?
What's that song all about?
Yeah.
That song was written
The Observer. Yeah.
when I was very sad, listening to a lot of David Berman, who's another musician I love. We actually did a couple of his tracks in the studio. It felt a little too on the nose. Actually, the only reason I gotta give credit, I shouldn't say the only reason, but I gotta give credit to my producer Jasper of like encouraging me to like actually finish the song, because I used to do like live shows on Instagram Reels, and I did it a couple times, and he's like, "That's a really great song," and I was like, whatever. I just tossed it off one day.
Yeah.
And so but how did it start? There's a couple different things. There is these kind of fears that I have, maybe that we all have, like what happens when you die? Like you kind of like start with that kind of like question. Like, where does all this stuff go? Like I've done so much, I've worried so much about all this stuff, but then at the end you just let it go. Like it goes, where does it go? I don't know, but you're here looking at it right now. Hence hence the observation. That I also love nerdy shit, love quantum physics, and so I can't deny that that's also a reference to like there's this kind of weird concept in quantum physics of like nothing is real until it's observed. I'm way simplifying. But that
boxes are involved.
But that the fact that the observation actually changes things was an interesting concept. So I kind of had some verses floating around, and then I think Carol, my wife, one day was like, "Hey, write more songs," and I was like, "Okay, let me light a candle," and it just happened to be like the opening verse in the song is like literally like how was literally what was happening when I wrote the song. Like it talks about I lit a candle from my mom that was given to me like from 20 years of my own Christmas, and it's a beautiful candle, and I've never lit it before. I'm lighting it now, and that kind of just sparks all these memories, and then you just kind of keep going down that rabbit hole, and then there's the whole song. Kind of mashing a lot of things, but that's how it kind of starts.
And I hear that, and what do you think of that in terms of like being an artist, being a musician, like, because there is that question of, you know, we can sit in our bedrooms and we can write songs for ourselves, and we can never share them with it. And so there's one level, right? Like that. And then what happens when you take it out and you show it to other people and it's witnessed? And there's the level of what happens when you're, you know, singing in front of somebody else, like in a voice lesson, and like getting over yourself and being seen and witnessed in that.
That is also an observation. Very powerful observations. Yes.
I don't know where I was
question
with that.
It's all good.
but I'm just thinking about that whole thing of
I guess.
Well, because there's that thing, isn't there, of you have to make art for yourself, right? You can't
Mhm.
make it for other people hoping that somebody's going to like it, or, you know, it has to be because there is something uh from inside of you that wants to come out, right? And it's going to take form in a dance or a painting or a song, right?
Mhm.
And that's like one thing. And of course, in voice movement therapy, right, we're always creating stuff that is for that process.
Yeah.
But then there's the next level of like, actually, this thing, I'm gonna polish that a little bit. I'm gonna
Yeah.
polish that, and I'm gonna then share it with the world. Because it's like
Yeah.
we don't necessarily need the guts and the snot when we're sharing with everybody else,
Yeah, we
right?
don't always need that. We don't always need our most terrible, heart-wrenching things. There's a way to mold something where you can invite people in to share a thing with you instead of just always scaring them off.
Right.
And scaring them off is also a
It's
valid artistic
totally,
tactic. Like
totally
that's also fine too.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think about. I always have been thinking about like, well, what's the opposite of this? Like kind of thing. It's just an artistic exercise. Like, so if you do something that's really confrontational, well, what if you did the opposite of that? What if you just something that's very warm and inviting and loving? Like, it's just an interesting
So
exercise as an artist.
is that going back to your
Like,
going from trash to this?
that's very much
Yeah.
the intention
Yeah.
between the duality between the two albums is they're almost kind of polar opposites in my head.
Yeah.
Like one, I want you trash music, I want you to put on and be like, what the fuck is this? It sounds like shit. Like that's like the intention. Like at least at the very beginning. Like it's not the whole album isn't like that, but it starts with a like bang of like gross.
Yeah, noise. Yeah.
So, and I also want to kind of shout out the idea of like plumbing the depths of where you come from is
Yeah.
always a fertile ground as an artist. And as long as you're alive, I feel like it's always going to be. So like thinking about your parents or where you lived or like you're young, like that's always there's just so much there that you can kind of tease out, and there's so many stories you probably don't remember, like but once you start thinking about it, once you start really going into these emotions or doing the work,
Yeah.
there's plenty of things that everybody has to say.
So was there something about that lighting that candle from your mom then that kind of unlocked like feelings about like your relationship
Yeah.
or like your history or
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say that feeling precious about certain mementos. And since that candle had been old and I'd been carrying it around for like 20 years since college, and it was sparkly and it was pretty, and I was always like, I want to burn it because it's just a pretty candle.
Yeah.
And kind of really the only way I could give myself permission to light that candle was to be like, well, I'm gonna write a song about it.
Right.
So so I won't forget it.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, I don't know what to say about it, but like, yeah, it's it definitely got the ball rolling.
Yeah, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like to say about the mixture of musical styles on here, or anything that somebody hasn't asked you already when you've been talking about the album, something you want to share that maybe people would be surprised about, or where you want to take it next, or like
Yeah, these are all interesting questions. I've thought a lot about the next thing.
yeah.
And there's like 3 or 4 different like big ideas that I feel like I have for next.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just throw some of them out there. Why not? So like one of the ideas I've been really toying with recently is like I want to do an acoustic album, like, and I would just have 1 or 2 people on each track to help me out. So this is like very produced. It sounds like a full band almost the whole time, and that's beautiful and that's great. But I also like music that is more stripped back.
Yeah.
I like all kinds of different music. I mean, another thing that I've thought about doing is making like an electronic dance record. I love dancing.
Oh, goodness.
And
Yes.
and there are tracks on even older albums that I have that are dance tracks, but I've never like tried to do a whole album. I mean, I'd love to be good enough to do like what you would call like a classic jazz album someday, like all that kind of stuff. So there's so many things. Yeah. Oh, that's true. I would love to do a holiday album. Actually, probably one of the few places in the industry that's still profitable.
We were joking about this the other day, and I was saying that that next album cover is actually because I said to my husband, this is a joke. This is where this comes from. I said to my husband the other day, I said, I'm going to put a record on. He's in the kitchen making breakfast or whatever. And I said, and he said, oh, okay. And I said, I'm going to put Chris's album on. And he went, what? Really? Which surprised me, right? Because we've been playing it quite a lot and he likes it. And I went and looked at him and he said, I said, I'm going to put Chris's album. I said, oh, I thought you said you're going to put a Christmas album on. And fair enough, it was early November when I said this, so he was a little shocked.
The groaning, I can hear the groaning.
Said to Chris, and then I'm like, okay, so the album cover has to be you wearing one of those sweaters, you know. With,
oh yeah,
like
it's gotta be
pile of ornaments. You know, I don't know why. Like in the 70s, it was always like a pile of ornaments, or you know, something like that. You know. Next to a big fire, maybe, or
I do love these idea of classic album. I mean, this album cover is like I thought of it as like Frank Sinatra or a classic jazz album or something. That's the look of it. That's not the sound, but I would love to do that with the same thing of Christmas because I love playing with tradition too. I mean, that's actually a big thing of the album. I guess we haven't really talked about, and I haven't talked is almost trying to situate and envision myself in the lineage of the artists who I already love. And so this album is both like paying homage to them and also trying to say like, this is my relationship to them because there's so many covers and because those covers frequently are very different than the original. Trying to find my own place in the world and through other, like I said, kind of other artists I love.
I love it.
And having the confidence to do that's taken a long time. But
I mean, I think like what really, really struck me when I was listening to it, it felt like you'd arrived somewhat. Do you know what I mean? You'd arrived somewhere. Like it felt like, you know, you weren't expecting everybody to say this is trash anyway. I'm going to destroy a trash album, or you know, like. And I realized the album everyone wants. You know, yes, there's a little irony in there, but also, guys, it's a great album. You could do like way worse. And also, I'm just going to mention this just for a moment. It takes like a gazillion, like 20,000 streams to make like $5, or not even that, right? Like on these streaming services. You could, and it doesn't have to be Chris's album, although I'm going to encourage you to buy Chris's album. Any artist that you love this holiday season, buy one of their actual albums, right? Even if it's buying the digital version to download, right? But buy one of their actual albums, and then they actually get the money. And then the people that you love and want to support actually get to put some Brussels sprouts on their table, you know, like, because it's like, I mean, like, you know, musicians are having a very hard time of it right now. And I realize a lot of people are having a hard time, but you know, if we think about the times when life is really, really hard, like during COVID or any time recently, and you think about how much performers, whether they're actors, creating films and movies and TV that you love, or musicians soothing your tired, frazzled nerves as you lie in the bath and with a candle in the dark, you know, just like support these people, support them. Lovely. Okay, so I look forward to all the rest of the albums, and and will you please tell us where people can find you and where they can buy a copy of this album? And I'll put it in the show notes too.
A couple places. One place is C Collective. My wife actually owns a fashion brand that she runs called C Collective, and it's for sale on there.
How do you spell that?
Seek as in like you're looking for something, you're observing something.
Seek Collective.
SEEK Collective. Selling it on there, you can buy it directly from me. You can also go to Bandcamp. You know, if you want to, there's digital sales there, and then it's also paired with other things.
It's a record player,
and not everybody has a record player. It's true. It's true. So there are definitely other ways you can listen to it, and I really want to just make it easy for people to listen to if they want to. But I do encourage the like intentional listening can be such a much more meaningful experience than like you just put something on in the background and you're doing something else and whatever, and like I'm guilty of this too. I do it all the time. I put on my AirPods or whatever, and I'm cleaning the house and just listening to whatever new thing. And like, there, half paying attention. But it's just really like to fully engage with the work of art that you love is like, and to support the artist. Like,
Yes. You know, I
thanks.
bought I had to rebuy all my Bowie albums because they didn't make it.
Oh.
You know, so I rebought all my Bowie albums. I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that, maybe 10. And I sat down with my son when he was a teenager, we were going through high school, and we would listen to an entire album in the dark.
That is awesome. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Got those albums was being a teenager and listening to them in the dark. Sure enough, it's true. I was lying in my bedroom in the dark smoking cigarettes at the time, but you don't have to smoke cigarettes to enjoy David Bowie or Chris, right?
Smoke other things.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. Okay, well, Chris, I just and also if they want to follow you on the socials, where will they find you?
Yeah, you can. I'm on all the socials. Mostly I post to Instagram. I do some Facebook stuff. I do some TikTok stuff. Just search Chris Portka, Google or on social media. Yeah, Portka.
Is your website the same name?
You know, my websites are very unmaintained at the moment. Probably just look at the socials.
Okay,
but yeah. If you
Instagram, that's where they'd find out where you might be doing shows and things.
Yes, that's where I'm posting pretty much everything these days.
Okay, and do you have shows coming up that you'd like to tell us about?
I do. I have a regular gig actually at the wine bar that I live near in Berkeley.
Okay.
It's called Vintage. It's in Elmwood at the first Wednesday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m.
Great.
That's coming up. That will be the first Wednesday in December. I'm blanking on the, I think it's the second.
The
third. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I also have another gig on the 19th that's going to be at the Plow and Stars, which is in San Francisco.
Great.
And I'm also going to be on the radio on KXSF on the 14th. And that'll be at from 3 to 4 p.m. A little in studio. I'll play a little guitar and I'll also probably talk about some stuff. So.
I love that.
Yeah.
I always love a radio gig. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And squeezing it. We're doing tiny desk, but just the two of us here today. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And check back in again next week. And go and check out Chris's record. It's really fab. Okay, bye. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being here. If you had a chance, could you help me out and write a review and rate this on iTunes? Because otherwise I'm going to be buried so deep in the algorithm, nobody's going to ever find me. Okay, thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye-bye.